Have you ever wanted to try Breach but don't know how to play him? Or don't want to because you have bad teammates? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to play one of the strongest characters in the game by using pro VOD analysis and my collegiate experience to give you guys my best honest advice on how to play Breach even with bad teammates. So, why should you play Breach? In my opinion, as my main agent, Breach is definitely the most versatile character in the game. His ability to really create chaos and havoc for the opponents while setting up your teammates very efficiently is unmatched with any other character in the game. And I think if you're someone who really likes to play support but also wants that ability to play aggressive and make plays on your own sometimes, then I think Breach is a really good character for you. To start with, let's understand Breach as a character. In my opinion, unlike other agents, he is a very map-heavy, map-dependent character, and that can be a really good thing for some maps and really kind of annoying thing for other maps if you main him. But I think this current rotation is pretty good for him, as I see him very viable on Sunset, Haven, Lotus, and Split. So that's 4 out of the 7 where I think he's very good on. The other 3 maps, Ascent, Icebox, and Pearl, he's not horrible on. It's just, in my opinion, the reason why he's map dependent is because of his fault line, and his fault line, which is his stun, is his most important and best ability, and it really thrives in situations where there's tight choke points and there's short and compact areas that the enemy team has to go through, and when those tight areas are on the map, you're easily able just to stun the entire thing. And for example, on Ascent map that he's not the greatest on, the mid space is pretty big and there's not really a tight entrance that the enemy team has to go through on offense or defense. So he's only really good on the outside choke points, so he's kind of mid. But on a map like Split, the mid is very close quartered and shorter, and both of the choke points have a tighter entrance that his fault line can really do a lot of damage with. So that's why I think he's map dependent, but right now he's still pretty good. So now that we understand what maps he's good on, let's understand him more as a character. There are 2 factors that really set him apart from other characters in my opinion. One, his abilities, obviously, but more specifically just his stun and his flash. His stun is a rechargeable stun that you can throw pretty much halfway across the map at any moment. Very, very powerful, very easy to set up teammates. Yeah, and his flash is can be placed very precisely from long distances and can be really difficult to dodge from an enemy's point of view. So those 2 abilities really are his best abilities. Aftershock is good, but I think it's a lot more niche and not as easy to use for sure. The other factor that really makes him good compared to other agents is his ability to combo with other agents and teammates. Breach has a lot of niche and very powerful combos with other agents. The most prevalent example I can think of was him with Teo, which was insanely overpowered and honestly kind of caused for a Teo nerf. And now that Teo's nerfed, he doesn't really have that partner in crime, so I think that does lower him a little bit. But either way, his flash and his stun, you can pretty much get good value out of throwing that for anybody on your team. But specifically what I want to talk about is the duelists and your ability to set up a movement duelist. So most times you're going to have a movement duelist in your game, and the movement duelists are Jet, Raze, Neon, Waylay, and being able to stun someone or flash and have a Jet instantly dash off of it, it's insane. That is what makes Breach as good as he is, just that simple factor. And if you really lock in with your duelist and try to either duo queue with the duelist or pay attention, it increases his value by a large margin. So all the basic information out of the way now, it's time to explain how to really use him effectively. So the number 1 most important thing in my opinion is his mindset. I was a pretty lackluster Breach player, and I had some good moments where I was using his abilities pretty well and things like that, but how I really got consistent with him and how I see a lot of pros get consistent with him is their mindset is really good. And to kind of dip further into that, or to explain, I think the mindset you really need to have is a learner's mindset. And the reason why I say that is because there are very few lineups. In fact, I only really use one lineup, and that is an Aftershock into Hell on Haven. And other than that, I don't use any lineups on him. So there's not much you can really do to prepare yourself. Besides watching pro VODs, but my point is there's not lineups. Like, you don't have like something to like kind of prepare yourself to go into these games with. And a learner's mindset, I think, is really effective on him because you have to try a lot of things. You can place his flash anywhere. You can place his aftershock anywhere. You can place his stun anywhere on the map. Like, there's so much like wide range, and there's such a high skill cap with him that if you're not trying things out and like trying to have reasoning for things, you're not going to get better at him. You need to constantly be trying new things and trying to call out different things, trying to use his flash differently, etc., whatever. But if you're not trying new things, you're never going to learn what works, because I think Breach, like I said, is a versatile agent, and he's different for every player. Some players play him really aggressively, some play him heavy as a support. You know, there's a wide range of like right answers on like how to play him. So I think you need to find that within yourself and experiment and learn. That's the biggest thing. The second most important thing with him, in my opinion, is his communication. I've already kind of touched on how you can kind of have a wide range of like what works for you, but either way, you need to at least try to communicate. This can be difficult for some players because I know some people don't like to calm and don't really like to be like social butterflies within the game, but I'm telling you, being able to communicate properly really unlocks that ceiling for Breach as a character, and I think his potential just goes through the roof when you're really like trying to set up plays with your teammates. And here I'm going to show you some clips from E.G. Derek, who's one of the best initiators in the game, and I'm going to give some evidence to how these good players really play and communicate in this instance.
Line of frame main, line of frame main. Jet could be flanking. I can flash sand for you. You want it? Blinding sands for you. Let's go. Let's go. Speed it up. Speed it up. Breach stun day main. Done. I'm telling you this. Drop close smokes. Close smokes. Go. Flashing. Won't blind you. Go.
As one of the best initiators in the game, Derek really calms a lot, and you can see it in those clips. He was constantly trying to set up his flashes, his stuns, and trying to set up his neon most of the time. I think he was over IGLing, and I think that's like a little too much for what I would ask out of just a normal Breach player and competitive. But either way, I think the point is that he's getting everyone on the same page. He's getting on the same page with the neon. And I know you guys that are in lower ranks aren't going to have a good neon that's like able to really capitalize off of that. But you guys aren't going to be on the same page if you don't even try it. Like, yeah, obviously, like, he might not listen or whatever. He might just like misunderstand it. But like, if you never try to communicate or you never try to set anything up, nothing's ever going to happen. Now, the third and final factor that makes a good Breach player, in my opinion, is their map awareness. And what I mean by that is when you're playing Breach, pulling out your abilities puts you in a vulnerable state like other agents like Astra and KO and I mean pretty much any initiator. And obviously you don't want to be vulnerable while someone's swinging you. So being able to like position yourself in good positions and set up your team at the same time, all while looking at the mini-map and trying to set up your Neon who's going Mach 4 onto site, like it's really difficult. And I think the awareness part is probably the biggest thing for some players. And kind of like how to work on this is take notes on like, well, first you just need to try things. But, and what I mean by that is just like, just play Breach and try him like just for a few games, and you'll notice that like you'll like whip out your stun or whatever, and then you get shot. And you notice that there's certain positions that like just kind of don't work with Breach. And there's always good positions on the maps that I explained, and that's kind of what makes them good on those maps. But either way, I think the map awareness and the mini-map awareness is the biggest thing. Looking at your duelist going on site and trying to pay attention and really trying to like set him up and putting yourself in good positions in the map so you're not vulnerable, but you're also with the team and you're not just baiting everybody. That is really important. For example, a good position is if you're hitting C, if your team is splitting through garage, you sit in C lobby and you hold your stun towards garage. If everyone's going C long, you go in the cubby and you hold your stun towards logs. Both of those are really good stuns and really good power positions where you're safe and you're not going to get shot holding out anything, right? Because you're not running down long, no one's going to swing you. Now that I've kind of gone over how to use Breach and the different mindset changes and some of the things that you need to incorporate into your game to really become a good Breach player. I think the final and most important part, in my opinion, is like steps you can actually take into becoming a better player. I've actually kind of touched on this in this video already, but some of the bigger things is, one, watching pro VODs. There are tons of VODs on YouTube, tons of channels that just upload like millions of pro VODs that you can just watch. There's Breach VODs out there. A lot of good initiator players will just play comp, and that channel will post them playing the comp game in a more casual setting. And you can really like take note and watch how they kind of like coordinate the game. And I think that is probably the most important part into getting better. Besides just playing the game, like I think a lot of players just are scared. Like just take that step and play them while watching the VODs, and you will definitely improve because you can really notice like how they kind of move around and stuff. So the next thing, this kind of depends on your situation. If you're just a casual player, which I think most of you guys are, and you just want to rank up in the game and you just want a cool agent to play, just playing the game just in general, just getting reps is definitely the most important part. You can like do some like custom game stuff and whatever, but I don't really think it's really applicable to the actual comp game because just your teammates are just going to be really unpredictable, and I think just getting those reps in and getting comfortable with the agent is just definitely the biggest thing. You know, like I said, there's not a lot of lineups that you can do, so it's like you kind of just have to throw yourself in the deep end and learn to swim, you know? And if you're on a team, which I think there's only very few of you guys, I can give pretty solid advice on this because I was on a team and I played Breach. If you're on a team, some of the biggest things that really helped me was just going in custom games and dry running with your team, dry running with your duelist, and talking to your duelist, letting him know like when he wants flashes, when he wants the stun, you know, and like just trying things out. I like just in general, like no matter what, just try to communicate. Try different stuns, try different flashes, try different aftershocks, everything. Like always just try and experiment and really broaden your like bag, as they say, you know, like just try to have as many tricks and like different gadgets up your sleeve as you can with Breach, because there's not one right way to play him. And I think that's what makes him so fun to me, is that there's so many different right answers on like where you should throw the stun, and being a little uncomfortable but learning, like I said, that learner's mindset, that is just really, really important in my opinion. So to kind of like give a conclusion, you know, I think the most important parts to improving are watching pro VOD and just playing the character, like trying new things, learning. The mindset change, you really need to get into a learner's mindset to really improve fast with him. His abilities are really good, but because there's so many different places you can throw a stun and his flash, I think just experimenting yourself is definitely the biggest thing. Communication is also a very strong thing. You need to try to set up plays with teammates, even if you don't want to, even if you're scared. Like you're missing out a lot of his value. Also, very map dependent agent. I wouldn't recommend playing him on Ascent, Icebox, or Pearl. Really, right now you can, and you're not gonna lose a game because of it. It's just a lot more difficult to play him, and that's just kind of my opinion. And I mean, overall, very strong agent. A lot of adaptability, and I think he's really fun. I think you guys should try him. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope this helped.